Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Candid show. This episode is hosted by myself, Sriram and Krishna. So, in this episode, we are going to be talking about gaming industry, and also we are going to be talking about how the gaming industry has progressed, and also we are going to be discussing about esports as an industry and how esports has actually developed so much in India over the past 5 to 6 years. And also near the end of the podcast, we are going to discuss about the various effects which the gaming industry had, and also the various kind of people who made it to the top just by using gaming as a tool. So to start off, I'd like to talk about games in the beginning, because I think games was something which every one of us must have played at least some kind of games, be it single player, be it multiplayer, any kind of thing for the matter. So it has been something which we've always been doing in our lives. Not everybody must have obviously played it, but I think some form of games we definitely must have played. And I think games are like such a important part, such an integral part in our life that I think without games most of us did not even exist. So to talk about evolution of games in general, so initially we had these games. If someone remembers Road Rash, for example, so those are one of the most classic kind of games where the graphics was completely atrocious, but we still kind of treasure those games because it gives us a sense of nostalgia. And now we are at this point where we all know about PUBG because it has taken the world by storm. Even though it's not only PUBG, but we have so many games, like Valorant, example, COD Mobile, etc., etc. So the evolution of game has definitely been very big over the past, at least this decade. I think so. So what do you think about games in general, Krishna? Do you think we've come a long way in terms of gaming?
Yeah, I am a game lover, and as you said, the olden days we had the Road Rash and GTA. Now also we have GTA, but still
Yeah.
the old GTA and the Road Rash and those games we play while using the CDs or the in the game center. So
Yeah.
this is a very golden memory we have in our childhood, and I am personally I am a very big game fan, and I love gaming. As you told, I love PUBG and COD. So like all these advanced games have set a very big trend.
Yeah.
Like olden games, if you see, there are different types of games. If you see, there are action games, adventure games, like mind games. So various types of games are there in the world, but still some games make it out unique, as they have some special quality in them. Like PUBG and COD, if you see, it is real-time games. So like there are two types of games. So like normal games and real-time games.
Yeah.
Where the real-time games are the games where you play at the same time. At the same time, another player, your opponent, is also a player like you. So there is no surety that you will win or he will win. So like
Yeah.
anything could happen. So it is a real time game. So that is the difference between real time game and normal gaming. So like the PUBG mobile and Free Fire and COD are the top leading games in the real time games. So
Yeah.
like we also know GTA, and we also used to use cheats in GTA. So it's a very memorable and nostalgic feel. So, Shiram, what do you think about all these old games, and how do you compare it with the new generation games?
Yeah, definitely. I think, Krishna, we have come a long way in terms of evolution, because I think initially we used to play it on our PCs, by PS2s. There were a lot of devices. Even those devices to this day still give us nostalgia, especially PS2. And there were a lot of these consoles, I think, which most of us were interested in, because those were the ones which caught our eyes. And now we've come up till the age of PS5, and we are at such a big level of technology. We are so advanced in the stage of technology where when you think about it, you think about the road which you have come through over these 10 over these decade. I think it is just miraculously amazing that we've just come this far. And also talking about the actual advancement in terms of the gaming as a profession, I think gaming is starting to become something which you can actually make money out of. And if you said this to a person 10 years ago, he would definitely not believe you. He would say you're a liar. So that is definitely amazing as to how gaming has kind of transformed, kind of changed its image from something which we just used to do as a profession, and now it has kind of like become a full-time like basically a full-time earning method for some of the people. And these people kind of play game full-time, and they just dedicate all of their remaining free time, especially playing games and enhancing their skills, in short. So that's esports. So people who don't have any understanding, or people who don't have any idea of what esports actually means, so esports is basically a medium or basically basically a competition for games in general. That is just the shortest version which I can tell. So we have this contest, or we have this competition where many people from different countries, many people from different states, or basically from different nationalities also come together, sit in a common room, and they kind of have a go at it. They compete at a very 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 big pace, or rather at a very very advanced level. So for example, we have games for PUBG. For example, we had so many tournaments for PUBG. Then we have for Valorant, we are going to have more, and even for League of Legends, especially for people who play League of Legends. So esports has kind of shaped up, in fact, and it is kind of, and was already very famous in some of the foreign countries, especially US, and now it has also kind of come into India. So I think esports is something which definitely the Indian population is kind of new to even till today. Not many people are aware of it. So Krishna, do you think esports will kind of come more into India, because we already know esports is actually a very very popular thing in India? So do you think more people actually will want to go into esports as a profession?
Yeah, as you told before, gaming was just an entertainment, considered as an entertainment, but now it has become a profession for many gamers. And like, if you see Mortal Scout or Dynamo,
Yeah.
they have made money out of the games, out of the gaming, and they have successfully running a YouTube channel and are getting income from it. So esports, if you see, it is a very big organization, gaming organization, where it they conduct very many tournaments regionally or worldwide. So like many gamers come across the tournaments, and they clash within each other and win, and they fight for the top prize. So the esports in India would be very great, and even Mortal Scout, Dynamo would be participating, as they are the top positions in PUBG Mobile. So that is a very great thing to see. But if you see many gamers, many of them will be involved in such esports.
Yeah.
So it is very it will be a very good thing in the future. So
Yeah.
Shiram, as I told, this is a fun question I want to ask you. Do you like Road Rash or do you like Super Mario? What do you like?
So personally, I was a very big fan of Road Rash. I think most of us would also agree with me, because I think it was such a different game actually, because it was something very unique, something very different, a very creative, just a beautiful move, to be honest. Because when the first time I played it around, I just got extremely hooked to it, extremely addictive, just like the games which you have right now. Because addictness is like the addiction is like the basic common term which games generally have been having for the past 10 years. So talking about the question, I think Road Rash was something which I was extremely thrilled to actually play every single day. I used to come from school, I used to play for 2 to 3 hours. My mom used to scold me. I think this is common in every parent's house, I think, for people who play games. And Road Rash is something which I kind of adore, and such a nostalgic memory every time I even hear the name about it, because there's just countless hours of it, me playing in home, just basically going at it in the console again and again and again. And those were just fun days, I think, yeah.
Yeah, but also Super Mario is also a wonderful game, don't you
Yeah.
think?
Super Mario is, yeah, same thing. Yeah, Super Mario is something, again, a different move, because we had never seen anything like Mario again, and just Mario is just taken the world by storm, because we just have so many versions of Mario, Super Mario, Smash Bros, and there's even driving with respect to Mario. And Mario is something which we kind of took to a whole new level. And basically that's what I'm trying to say, is the fact that people who kind of come up with these kind of games, or basically have this creative mind, basically to come up with something new out of basically nothing, is something which I definitely have to give them respect for. Same to PUBG as well, because if you talk about past 10 decades, or basically the last 10 years, I think PUBG was something which people would have thought was crazy, in my opinion, because playing real time, just having a go at everyone, playing with your friends, chatting at the same time, and because these are all something which is just basically redefining gaming as a whole, I think. So in that way, I think most of these games, especially Road Rash and Super Mario, etc., etc., and these are one of the like basically cornerstones in terms of gaming, in my opinion, because they kind of redefined gaming as a whole, from just shooting and just smacking swords, to basically changing the idea of gaming as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, before days, if you see the starting of the gaming, it was from the computers, or like it was in the gaming centers mostly, and then it came to gaming consoles,
Yeah.
which we had to buy. So it had a joystick and gun. So like we had a very great childhood, a very golden memory
Yeah.
playing with those consoles. So like next came the PS4, the PlayStation, like PS1, PS2, PS3. Now it is the PS5 is going to come. So like how do you see the advancement in technology considering the gaming industry?
Yeah, definitely. I think PS1 was something which I think everybody was extremely hyped because PlayStation has been such a very big franchise right from the start. I think because PS1 was one of my best favorite consoles. I think because I'm generally a big fan of PS consoles because people would argue Xbox is better, and that's a debate which I want to keep for another day. But talking about the current topic, I think PlayStation has been something which they kind of steadily keep improving over every single console because when you compare PS1 and you compare PS5 now, you'll see there is a mammoth mountain amount of change. And that's what I like about consoles in general because you can kind of expect so many changes just within a fraction of 1 year because if I not remember wrong, PS4 came around like 1.5 years back, I think, and it was not such a big improvement compared to PS3 and PS4 just because there are few graphic updates or basically it supported 4K, not very big changes. But PS5 has completely redefined everything, and it has got this whole new interface, and the hardware is basically out of this world. So they've just been completely basically stepping up at every single console, and I think consoles are something which are never going to die. I think because even though consoles are not extremely friendly, portable friendly, or you can't carry it around wherever you want, but still the fun you get of it or the joy which you get out of playing a console using a joystick and such is never going to be I think enough. Or rather, people could argue saying PC is better than console, but that is a very big debate. And I think I definitely I'm a firm believer of consoles. I don't know why, but I just support console players more than PC for some reason. Yeah.
Okay, coming to the consoles, if you see the PlayStation or the Wii or the Xbox, there are different types of consoles we have
Yeah.
around us. But except the fact that the portability of the consoles, we can't carry that all the around all the places.
Yeah.
So like mobiles, if you see, you can keep it in the pocket and we can take it anywhere and we can play our games anywhere.
Yeah.
So it is not portable. So like that is the only problem in consoles.
Yep.
So what other things do you see except that fact in consoles that is better than the smartphones?
I think first of all the graphics. I think because even though you may argue that phones even give you better graphics than consoles these days, but everybody cannot afford a good phone. I think because it all boils down to the specifications of your phone, and not everybody is able to afford OnePlus or iPhone, etc., etc. So I think in that way, that's where the consoles kind of get an edge over mobile phone, even though consoles might be a bit expensive and more than expensive for a few people. But I think kind of like the joy which you get, or rather like basically playing with the joystick is I think much more fun rather than playing on a phone or basically using a keyboard. I think because it is just, I don't know why, maybe it's a psychological thing or something, I don't know, but I'm more inclined, or I think more people must be more inclined to playing on any kind of a console device rather than PC or maybe mobile also. I think mobile basically became popular just because of the fact that it was basically portable, so people can take it wherever they want, whenever they want, they can play. So I think that was the one reason for which mobile gaming actually became popular. But apart from that, if you compare mobile, actually you should not even compare mobile and console from the same standpoint. But if, in my opinion, I think consoles will probably be coming, or rather the PlayStations are still going to be existing even after 30 years from now, I think. And that is going, there's going to be no basic end to it, I think, because people are not willing to basically give up console gaming, in my opinion. Yeah.
So yeah, as you see, the consoles or the PCs or the smartphones. So like these are the three major type of gaming which we kind of experience in our day-to-day life. But Shiram, as you told, the PlayStation or the consoles are those which are made for only for gaming. So
Yeah.
those are absolutely for gaming, and we can't get that experience from any other devices like PC or mobile phones.
Yeah.
So the comparison is actually wrong. So like the consoles are way better. So
Yeah.
Shiram, what do you think about the advancement in the consoles? So if you see in the starting stage, we got PS1, which was handy, and so like PS2, which is very memorable as we
Yeah.
all used it the most, and PS3 and PS4. So like these consoles came, and now we have a Nintendo Switch. So what do you think in the advancement of gaming in the consoles?
Yeah, that is a very fancy thing, or rather, a very beautiful thing to notice is that the consoles have been getting bigger and bigger, and I think that is something which we all expected, because as you go on getting more and more hardware into it, or if you start putting more and more devices or software program into it, the console is obviously going to become heavier and heavier. But we can also see that we also see certain portable kind of gaming equipment like Switch, because Nintendo Switch was probably the most portable thing, which is very close to phones, I think, because of the basic size, I think, and it became a very big hit also, because even though it didn't have a lot of games, or even though it didn't support a lot of games, people still bought it because just because of the portability factor. I think portability is something which I think gamers, or anyone for that matter, is actually going to consider before purchasing. So I still think portability plays a bigger role for any kind of gaming hardware, I think, because PS2, I think that's why it became very famous, because it was extremely small. I think it was basically it's just the size of three or four boxes when you put them together, pencil boxes. So I think in that way PS2, that's why it became such a big hit. Then became PS3, because PS3 was very heavy, so even though it was well appreciated, not a lot of people bought it. Same with the PS4, not a big improvement. So again, same with the PS5, so it's just even bigger in size. And I think consoles are just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, but I think we'll still have alternate sources of gaming, just like Nintendo Switch, and this was just one of many, and we still have a lot more to go. But I still think Indians, or since gamers in general, will always consider portability over comfort, or rather enjoyment, any day, I think. Yeah.
So even though all these points we discuss for this time is all the positive points of the gaming, but still we have the negative points or the negative effects of gaming.
Yeah.
So if coming to the negative effects, I want to ask you, Shiram, is that how do you think the games affect the person or the gamers in day-to-day life?
Yeah, I think the very first thing, most obvious thing, I think, is laziness, or rather obesity. I think that is the most biggest, actually, the effect of gaming for long hours, especially. But I'm just talking right now just for long hours. Before people start attacking me, I would just want to say, if you play games for long hours at the same time, for example,
Yeah.
like 5 to 6 hours, that is just going to cause you problems. If you play it in moderation, if you play an hour a day, I think that is not going to affect you. And this effect of gaming which I'm talking about is especially for those people who play for continuously long hours, because that is what is going to cause you harm. And if you're in this, you're going to even get back problems. I think there's just so much things you can talk about, but I think obesity is one of the most biggest things, I think, which I would like to point out, because in US it has the maximum cases of obesity, and I think people just forget about their health while they play games. And I think that's the point where people kind of become more and more addiction to it, and addiction kind of, I think, starts coming into the picture when you talk about health standpoint, because addiction is the root cause of basically any kind of the setback which gaming kind of causes to your health, I think, because addiction is basically the root cause of you getting illness, because you just don't want to go out of the game, you just don't want to take a break, you just constantly are sitting to the system, you just constantly onto the screen. It damages your eye, it damages your spine, your posture is all messed up, your eyes are all messed up. This is numerous problems with which, yeah.
So yeah, as we are speaking about the games, I must also speak about the non-technical games like the real-time games, as we play football, cricket, so like baseball. So like these are the outdoor games we play. So
Yeah.
Shiram, in the previous generation, so like before a decade or so, before the advancement of technology or the games or the consoles,
Yeah.
whatever. So all the teenagers or the all the members in their childhood used to go out and play games and physically stay fit. So as you told, obesity is also a very big concern. So like how do you think the outdoor games kind of vanished due to the advancement in technology and the advancement in the technology in the games?
Yeah, I think the most biggest thing, or basically the prime reason for which most of these physical games kind of got vanished or basically became less popular, was because those games are basically be able to, you can play those games just in your comfort of your home. Yeah, for example, football. So football, I think FIFA is one of the most biggest things. I'm not the biggest fan of football, but I know a lot of people play FIFA, and I think for any kind of game to become successful, they basically take inspiration from some kind of real thing. So for example, that's what happened with the basketball also, because we can see NBA became extremely popular, then we can see football became extremely popular, then NFL became extremely popular, and that's what's kind of like the major point, a major reason for which most of the physical activity, basically any kind of physical activity, got vanished, because you could do the same physical activity at the comfort of your home on your screen with whatever ping you want. You can play with whatever skill you want. You can even hit goals all day long. You can just do whatever you want. And I think that part of gaming which kind of imitates from any kind of real life things, for example football in this case. So you just play football at your home, so why do you have to go walk to your ground and play? You can just play it at the comfort of your home. Even though people don't understand it, obviously, if you look at it from a third person standpoint, that may seem stupid to you, because you will see that obviously that is a physical game which involves a lot of muscles, a lot of activity, but this is a game which you don't even move around. That is kind of a perspective which a third person has. But a person who actually plays games for longer and who has no idea of how much he's actually addicted to it, I think will never even understand he's actually addicted to it. That is again comes to the same thing, addiction. And that's I think that's the main reason why most of these physical activities kind of got completely stopped or vanished, in the sense that you could actually do them just from the comfort of your home on your consoles. And why will he actually go on a ground and play when he can actually do everything in his home? So yeah, I think that's the reason why most of the physical games especially, got vanished.
Yeah, as you told, that is the main difference from physical games and all the online games.
Yeah.
So, like, health is also something that must be considered. So, most of them don't consider it, and they think that why should I go out and play games when I can do, as you told. So, Shiram, moving on to the next question, I want to ask you is that there are many gamers we see around in the country.
Yeah.
Like you see Mortal, Scout, or Dynamo, or like a Levinos, COI. So, like you kind of see various types of gamers in each and every game.
Yeah.
So they are the top in the specified game. So how do you think YouTube as an app that is a very great asset for the gamers?
Yeah, I think YouTube is a blessing in disguise, I think, because YouTube has been something which I think we Indians did not kind of be lot into it. We didn't even understand the concept of YouTube, I think, like around 10 or 12 years back, because YouTube was something which we just used to listen to songs, we just used to watch videos, etc., etc. And I think YouTube kind of completely transformed from a kind of a entertainment standpoint, or basically consumer kind of a standpoint. I think that's how YouTube was 10 or 12 years ago, because you did not see a lot of creators on YouTube, and YouTube was basically a platform consisting of celebrities and most of these big music artists who used to post their music videos. But I think we kind of transitioned from a consumer based industry of YouTube to a producer slash creator slash consumer. So now we can see a lot of YouTubers. For example, if people who are familiar with Western kinds of YouTubers, you may know Casey Neistat, you may know PewDiePie, you may know KSI, and most of these people, they were also once actually the consumers of YouTube as a medium, as an entertainment. But soon they started creating content, and that's why YouTube actually became famous, and that was the turning point of YouTube, in my opinion. Because when you are a consumer, you kind of understand how to post videos, how to actually bring in your audience. You kind of see people doing it. So when you become an opposite, or basically when you take their shoes, or you become a creator, you kind of know all these things. You kind of know how to pull your audience, because you yourself have been an audience before. So I think that's where YouTube kind of gains an advantage, because it basically does all the, you can basically be all three persons in the same show. You can be someone who watches YouTube, you can be someone who creates YouTube, you can be someone who critiques the things on YouTube. So it has become such a very big platform where you can basically do anything you want, everything you want, without any kind of restrictions. So I think that's why most of these gaming channels, are basically YouTube as a whole, kind of grew, because it just changed from a consumer kind of an industry to basically an all-rounder kind of industry, where you could do anything you want, just out even your creativity, for example. Because people who had an interest in baking did videos on baking, and people who kind of interest at DIY artists, we can see a lot of DIY artists. And for example, people who were interested in makeup could do videos on YouTube on makeup. So they were just able to put themselves on screen, they were able to show their unadulterated themselves. So I think that's why YouTube became popular. And same thing goes for gaming also, because we were basically at the point where we used to see gaming walkthroughs on screen, we used to see people playing on screen, but we did not see much of their screens, or they just used to post gameplays. But now we've come to the point where they just completely transformed into an entertainer perspective, where they kind of play games also, they kind of entertain the audience also. So they do these all-purpose kind of roles, which kind of keeps you so much engaged. And that is why YouTube, I think, was such a big hit, because you could do anything you want, and people would still appreciate you for it, not criticize you for it. And that is the biggest advantage that YouTube as a platform gives to any kind of creator. Yeah.
Yeah, before as you told before the all the YouTube were used for entertainment purpose, where we kind of saw all the videos, or like we used to hear songs.
Yeah.
So now it has become a business, and all the gamers have been actually getting money from the YouTube videos, and it is calculated as per view analytics, where they see the analysis of the actual video, and they see the analysis where a person whether he has watched the full video or not. So like
Yeah.
according to these conditions, the YouTubers or the gamers get paid, and they get more subscribers by all the online tactics or marketing tactics. So like Shiram, even though these all are the positive points, but still
Yeah.
there are many YouTubers, or like there are many gamers in YouTube. So like if you see Levino,
Yeah.
Sivoy, so they are leading in PUBG Mobile in YouTube. So do you think all the other small gamers would like to come into YouTube, they have to become like Levino or Sivoy? So do you think, is it correct, or like do you think all of them would attain such a publicity, or all of them would attain such a level in gaming in YouTube?
Yeah, I think you can kind of correlate, or you can kind of make an analogy to a real life example, because this YouTube is kind of just like real life, and PUBG is also basically like your life. Because when you take it for example, when someone like Levino, for example, who is extremely good at the game, who has got very good skills in general, so you compare it to a normal person in your life, for example, who has got a very good skill, who's basically has a very good technical and practical knowledge also. So for that person in real life to get a good job, there is much more probability than a person who's kind of average, or someone who has less knowledge than the other person. So same thing applies to YouTube as well. For example, for a person who's Levino, such as Levino, he can kind of gain popularity faster because he has good skills. So he doesn't need to show his personality, or he doesn't need to be himself to kind of make it to the top, or kind of show his gameplay to the world. But for someone like Carrie Minati, for example, who's not extremely talented at the game, or someone who's not actually a pro at the game, but he still manages to entertain people, and he still manages to get millions of views. And that is the difference between people basically who have skill, and people who are entertainers. So if you are an entertainer, I think you can make it no matter what, because you have the entertaining point of skill. So you don't need gameplay. You can have the subpar quality of gameplay, and you can show your personality off to people, and for your personality alone, people are going to follow you no matter what. But for people like Levino, for example, who basically survive on sole skills alone, they cannot make it to a longer, or maybe their growth is going to be slow, obviously, because most of their viewers are going to be people who are basically addicted to the game, or people who want to learn, for example. So people who are not very good, or people who just want to have fun watching, cannot watch Levino, so they'll watch Carrie Minati. So that's basic difference between whether all people can make it on YouTube. Obviously everybody cannot make it, and we all know there are thousands of channels, or any kind of gaming channels, for example, who generally don't make it to the top, who may be even skilled but still not make it. But I think it is just it's going to take time, obviously, just like life. You just cannot instantly make it to the top. It's just going to be a grind. You're just going to have to climb the ladder. You're just going to have to do struggle every single day. And I think I think it would be a very fair opinion of mine to say that definitely everyone can make it on YouTube, because it is just a platform where people just like to have fun, so they are not going to extremely criticize you for what you do. But if you are kind of a person like Levino, for example, who's extremely skilled, you'll definitely gain popularity faster, but it is not going to last a long while. That's the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, but here I want to ask you a question. But if a person has all the skills, like you said, like Levino or Takas or Sivo, so like if the gamers had such a skill, so if they had such a popularity as like in the games, so don't you think the marketing strategy is also the most important thing that a gamer should consider while coming to YouTube?
But okay, that is true. I think I
Yeah,
would
but
like.
also if you see, most of them can't make it in the top in YouTube.
Yeah,
But proper marketing gives you yields you more result
that's true.
than your skills.
That is true. I can accept with that point, I think, because but that depends on your goal, I think. Because if you come to YouTube as a platform to make money, then I think marketing is definitely going to help you. You are going to make money. It's going to attract people. People are just going to watch you, but no one is going to stick with you for much like longer. They're just going to watch you day to day basis. just for appreciating your skill, and you're not going to make it to the extreme top just like Mortal, because Mortal didn't become famous just because of his skill. Even though that is true in a way, he had both his personality and his skill pushing him, so that's why he is at his point of life. So I think just sheer skill and marketing strategy alone is not going to take you very far in your life. And on a platform especially like YouTube, I think you have to be you have to basically able to show your personality to the world. You have to show who you are, and that thing is the only thing which is going to take you far in terms of actual growth in YouTube. But if you're talking only about making money off of YouTube, then obviously having a good thumbnail, etc., etc., all these traditional market strategies are just going to make you money. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, as you told, that is the right thing. As if you have skill, you can do anything, not only in YouTube but also
Yeah.
in any platform, not only for gaming, in any field. So the main negative effect I see is that I will explain you a scenario where all these top players, like in PUBG, I'm repeatedly saying PUBG as I am a PUBG player,
Yeah.
and so like if you see all these gamers, top gamers, they used to have the skins or the upgraded outfits or upgraded materials in the games, which are available only if you pay for it. So they all have these upgraded things, but all the other people seeing them get jealous or like get interest in buying those materials
Yeah.
by upgrading using money. So but don't you think they don't realize that they can't even get a penny back from such a useless donation for such a game in online?
Yeah, I think microtransactions. I think that's what they call as microtransactions for people who are wondering what it is called. So any kind of a purchase which you make in your game, which involves your real life currency, is basically called as microtransactions. And I think that's the thing about microtransactions, that it's such a sneaky way to make money for any kind of a company, because you kind of have this notion in your mind that you're going to get all these stuff in the game and you're going to become extremely famous, and it is actually going to impact your game in any form of shape or form. But that is not the case, and even though people actually know that, they just still end up buying, which is just ridiculous to me. Because if you are an entertainer, you can go ahead and you can spend how much ever money you want, because obviously you are going to get it back because you have this platform called YouTube. But for people who don't are basically not basically a creator on on a YouTube, that's very difficult for you to make that money back. And I just don't understand why people make such useless actually investments in gaming, because if it's not going to yield you any kind of in fact, it's not going to yield you anything. It is just money down the drain, I think. And I don't understand what's the people mentality when people do this, because I have done it once or twice, so I can understand what must be going through their minds while people do this. But if I think about it right now, what I had purchased like about 2 or 3 years ago, I kind of feel stupid about it, because it was basically money down the drain. It was a complete waste of money. No good investment came out of it. Nothing good came out of it. Just a temporary satisfaction, pleasure, just like adrenaline coming out. That's all.
Yeah,
So
and it was the marketing strategy of the game or the
yeah.
gaming organization to make you buy those upgraded materials. Don't you think?
Yeah, obviously, I think everything comes under marketing strategy, because I think with these obviously microtransactions was something which we didn't have like a decade back, because we didn't even know. Game was something we just used to play, right? It was not something which we used to make money out of, even though that was kind of the intention. But we didn't actually, the industry was not entirely money chasing or money dependent, but that is just completely changed now. So obviously, we can expect stuff like this more in the future, I think, because it is just moving more and more into this money making kind of an industry, and that is definitely going to flourish, I think, because as long as gamers exist, or as long as people who play games exist, gaming companies are still going to make millions and millions of money, and no one is there to stop them, sadly.
Yeah, and they don't actually get the money from you directly, but they keep a in-game currency like UC or like Starbucks. So like they have an in-game currency which you have to buy instead by giving the money, actual real-time money, and you have to use those in-game currencies to buy all these upgraded materials.
Yeah.
You can clearly notice that none of the games actually get the money directly in its form. So actually they get from the in-game currency. And also Shriram, what do you think about the case that we saw in a year before, that a boy, a teenager, spent 16 lakhs in upgrading materials, all these stuffs, buying all these stuffs in the games, and he invested a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we came to know that all the money was saved by his parents for future plans, and they now are facing a very big financial problem due to their son, and they have made him now work in a mechanical shop.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it, Shiram? Investing lots of money, or like parents' money, without even their permissions has become something very big thing in our current generation. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think I don't know. This is I think utter stupidity of some of these children. I think because they just don't understand anything and they just fall for these traps so easily, and that is just very sad to listen because they just don't have any kind of an idea what they are spending their money on. They just think they're just buying all these fancy outfits. They think it's all cool and all, and they just brag about it with their friends. I think they just don't realize the gravity of the situation or actually what is happening, and that is the most pathetic part of this entire thing. Is because the children don't even realize that they're actually spending real life money on something which is not going to give you anything. It is not even a real life dress, for example. It is just a showpiece on a game, and I don't know what to say. And I think this kind of thing is just going to keep going on and on, because as long as gaming industry exists, as long as microtransaction exists, and there is going to be stupidity and there is going to be people like this. And I don't know, man. I think it's just I think one thing which I like to say is kudos to some of these companies who kind of invent stuff like this or created stuff like this, because just the most easiest ways to make money, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, as we all know that this was something that we have to convey to you. And before we told that all the skins or the upgraded materials are being bought by actually investing real time money. If you all see, I refer all as the general public listening, or the general basic gamers who are listening, that the all the upgraded materials or all the money spent in the game is actually spent when a gamer has attained such a high publicity or such a high recognition in all the social platforms like YouTube.
Yeah.
So only if you get recognition, that is the sad reality. But also we have to be stick to the reality that only if you get recognition or so, you get investment or you get money from it. So then you can think about spending the money in such
Exactly.
games, which actually kind of helps you to develop your channel or develop your gaming display. Or this is the basic thing we have to we had to convey to you. That is nothing can be permanent. So play games, but not don't get addicted to it. And yeah, that was for this podcast, guys. I hope you all liked it. And if you want us to do more sessions like this, please mention it in the comment section. And if you have any criticisms or suggestions, please let us know in the comment section. So thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Thank you.